Hey everyone, it's Deanna. Today, we're diving into a creepy crime story. Stick around for the chilling details. On September 8th, 2004, a Wednesday, Jay Orban celebrated his 45th birthday. Jay possessed nearly all the elements essential for a fulfilling life. He owned a successful business that demanded frequent travel across various states, ensuring a comfortable income. Alongside financial stability, Jay enjoyed a blissful family life. He resided in Phoenix, Arizona, United States, with his wife, Marjorie Orbin, and their cherished 8-year-old son, Noah. However, the facade of perfection concealed underlying imperfections. Despite Jay and Marjorie having officially divorced, they continued to cohabit as if still married. Marjorie insisted that the divorce was solely for tax purposes. Despite maintaining the appearance of a marital relationship, Marjorie engaged in multiple extramarital affairs. From the very beginning, Jay recognized that Marjorie would pose a challenge. Their initial encounter took place at a strip club, where Marjorie worked as a stripper, a venue Jay frequented. Captivated by her, he soon found himself regularly booking private dances from her. However, his affection for Marjorie went beyond the confines of the strip club, and he desired a genuine relationship with her. Eventually, Marjorie acquiesced to dating him. Yet, despite Jay's efforts, Marjorie's aspirations exceeded their relationship. She harbored a strong desire to elevate her status, yearning for the spotlight and the opulent lifestyle she observed while dancing in Las Vegas among the wealthiest echelons of society. This ambition drove her to seek a life beyond what Jay could offer. At the age of 18, I received the news that I couldn't have children. Faced with this reality, I consciously chose to focus solely on myself. I embraced a lifestyle of dancing, traveling, and a work hard, play hard mentality, going through several marriages along the way. By the age of 35, Marjorie had been married 7 times. Reflecting on her romantic pursuits, she shared, "I went into every relationship that I had looking for the Prince Charming." In the intervals between encounters with Prince Charming, Marjorie's fairy tale occasionally took an X-rated turn as she embraced a stint as a stripper. It was during this phase that she crossed paths with Jay Orban, a 26-year-old regular at one of the strip joints. Jay stood out with his affable nature and big-hearted demeanor. He did have a real good personality, and he was funny, Marjorie recalled. Jay's evident interest in her and his pursuit eventually led Marjorie to agree to go out with him. Recounting their initial date, she shared, "We went out dancing, we had a number of drinks, and were really having a fun time, and it was very romantic, and he was very, very amorous." Yearning for a jet-set lifestyle filled with endless wealth and glamour, Marjorie's aspirations clashed with Jay's career-building phase when they first met at the age of 26. Despite finding Jay kind, funny, and possessing a good personality, Marjorie hungered for more. Dissatisfied with the pace of Jay's career advancement, she returned to Florida, her previous residence. In Florida, Marjorie entered into a relationship with Michael J. Peter, a multi-millionaire known for establishing high-end strip clubs globally. Michael could provide her with all the material luxuries she desired. However, while he may have been sufficient for Marjorie, she fell short of meeting his needs, even though they were engaged. Michael engaged in extramarital affairs with numerous women who shared similarities in looks and behavior with Marjorie. Following the conclusion of her relationship with Michael J. Peter, Marjorie returned to Las Vegas. In 1993, a decade after their last meeting, she received a surprising phone call from Jay Orban. Jay, who was passing through Las Vegas on a business trip, spotted a prominent billboard featuring Marjorie. Intrigued, he reached out and invited her for a drink, marking the rekindling of their connection after 10 years. He said that he was going through Vegas and saw a billboard across the strip with my picture on it. Said, "No, I'm here in town, would you like to meet for a drink?" And after we talked for a while, I agreed to come have a drink with him. We spent the entire night talking and having drinks here and snacks there. and talked all night until the sun came up. Despite Marjorie's 7 previous marriages, she agreed to reconnect with Jay during this stage of her life. Marjorie and Jay enjoyed a drink together, spending the entire night catching up on their lives. Jay's visit to Las Vegas was brief, just for the night due to work commitments, as he needed to return to Phoenix the next day. Despite the time constraints, they maintained communication. Jay, now the owner of a thriving Native American arts business, had achieved greater stability compared to when they first met. In the wake of their renewed connection, Marjorie and Jay decided to tie the knot shortly thereafter. They exchanged vows at the Little White Wedding Chapel on Las Vegas Boulevard. The initial years of their married life were fulfilling. Marjorie took on the role of a homemaker, managing household tasks such as cooking and cleaning, while Jay dedicated himself to his work. Jay's financial success allowed Marjorie the opportunity to undergo fertility treatments. Despite being informed at the age of 18 that she couldn't conceive, both Marjorie and Jay were eager to have a child. The fertility treatments proved successful, and Marjorie became pregnant, ultimately giving birth to a baby boy named Noah. On August 26, 2004, Jay and Marjorie celebrated their son Noah's 8th birthday surrounded by friends and family. A few days later, Jay embarked on a business trip to Florida. However, he had to turn back due to the perilous conditions caused by Hurricane Francis. On September 8, 2004, Jay's mother, Joanne Orban, called to wish him a happy birthday. He informed her that he was driving back to Phoenix and promised to call her later that night. Unfortunately, the anticipated call never came. As the days passed, Jay's mother, Joanne Orban, found it increasingly difficult to get in touch with him. Concern deepened when a week went by without any communication, raising worries about his well-being. Marjorie, however, reassured everyone that Jay was on yet another business trip, and there was no cause for alarm. Despite Marjorie's reassurances, Joanne couldn't shake off her unease, especially since Jay typically managed to call even during his travels. As another week passed without any contact from Jay, his family and friends grew more anxious. They urged Marjorie to report him missing, recognizing that the prolonged absence was unusual and warranted further investigation. Marjorie took the step of reporting Jay as missing to the police. According to her, Jay had returned to Phoenix from Florida, but departed once again for another trip. In an effort to aid the investigation, the police requested standard and basic details, including Jay's license plate number. Marjorie assured them that she would call back with the necessary information, but failed to do so. The police had to leave 3 messages, prompting her to return their call. When she eventually did, the detective recorded their conversation as part of the investigation. During the period when Jay was missing, Marjorie made significant changes to her living situation. She moved her boyfriend, Larry Weisberg, into their home, and Larry utilized some of Jay's closet space for his own belongings. Contrary to expectations, Marjorie did not actively participate in the search for Jay, and she refrained from providing assistance to the police in their investigation. Instead, Marjorie made personal and financial decisions that raised eyebrows. She purchased a baby grand piano worth $12,000 and withdrew $45,000 from Jay's business account. These actions fueled suspicions and intensified the scrutiny surrounding Jay's disappearance. Marjorie's questionable activities and her unwillingness to cooperate raised suspicions among the police, leading them to believe that Jay's disappearance might involve more than a typical missing person case. In response to these concerns, they obtained a warrant to search the Orban home. During the search, they discovered Jay's credit cards and his business checkbook in the house. These were items that Jay consistently carried with him when embarking on business trips. The discovery of these personal effects further heightened suspicions surrounding the circumstances of Jay's disappearance. Upon reviewing Jay's cell phone records and credit card statements, investigators determined that he had indeed returned to Phoenix from Florida. However, the subsequent movements and whereabouts of Jay became unclear. This ambiguity led the police to shift their perspective, moving away from considering it a missing person case. Instead, they escalated their investigation to a homicide case, suspecting foul play in Jay's mysterious disappearance. On October 23, 2004, a homeless man stumbled upon a container wrapped in heavy black plastic in North Phoenix. Upon opening it, he made a gruesome discovery: a torso. The police were immediately alerted. Upon further inspection of the container, which was a 50-gallon Rubbermaid, the police found the torso along with a bundle of cash and a single expended bullet. Disturbingly, all internal organs and intestines were missing. The investigation revealed that the body had been frozen post-mortem and then dismembered using a saw. No other body parts were found at the scene, prompting the police to employ DNA testing to identify the victim, ultimately confirming that it was Jay Orban. The medical examiner declared the cause of death as an undetermined homicide. A mere 3 weeks after the discovery of Jay's dismembered body, Marjorie found herself in legal trouble. She was caught forging Jay's signature at a Circuit City store. Then, on December 6, just 6 weeks after the gruesome discovery of her husband's remains, the state pressed serious charges against Marjorie. She was charged with first-degree murder, along with 2 counts of theft and 2 counts of fraudulent schemes and artifices. The charges indicated a complex legal case involving both the violent act of murder and financial improprieties. The prosecution built its case around the theory that Marjorie murdered Jay on September 8, 2004, driven by a desire to eliminate him from her life and gain access to his financial assets. According to their argument, Marjorie strategically disposed of Jay's torso in close proximity to her home with the intention of ensuring its discovery. This calculated move, they asserted, aimed at securing the life insurance payout and Jay's estate. The prosecution contended that Marjorie's motives were rooted in financial gain and a desire to sever ties with Jay permanently. The prosecution presented the theory that Marjorie shot Jay in the garage of their home, subsequently freezing his body. According to their case, she then utilized 2 jigsaw blades to dismember him into pieces. Their belief in the use of a jigsaw blade was based on the consistency of the cuts observed in Jay's tibia and vertebrae, which they argued were indicative of a jigsaw being employed in the gruesome dismemberment process. This narrative formed a crucial part of the prosecution's efforts to establish the method and means by which the crime was committed. According to the prosecution's narrative, after Jay's death, Marjorie engaged in a systematic effort to eliminate any evidence of the crime. They contended that she thoroughly cleaned the garage, supported by the discovery of receipts for mops and cleaning products purchased just 1 day after Jay went missing. The prosecution alleged that Marjorie took further steps to erase any traces of blood by acid washing the garage floor and subsequently epoxy coating it. The next phase of their case involved Marjorie's purchase of the Rubbermaid container used to house Jay's torso. They argued that just 2 days after Jay initially went missing, surveillance footage from a Lowe's hardware store captured Marjorie buying 2 containers. Crucially, the containers were purchased using Jay's credit card, forming a key piece of evidence in the prosecution's effort to establish Marjorie's involvement in the crime. Sophia Johnson, Marjorie's former cellmate, became a crucial witness for the prosecution. According to Sophia's testimony, Marjorie expressed disdain for Jay, describing him as fat and disgusting. Sophia alleged that Marjorie made explicit admissions, stating, "I did it. I did it." According to Sophia, Marjorie disclosed that Jay was shot, frozen, thawed, and dismembered, with his arms, legs, and head being severed in the process. This testimony provided the prosecution with a potentially damning first-hand account of Marjorie's alleged confession and the gruesome details of the crime. In a strategic move, the prosecution offered Larry Weisberg use immunity, ensuring that anything he said in court could not be used against him. Larry testified that he had no knowledge of what happened to Jay and denied any involvement in the crime. In contrast, the defense put forth the theory that Larry Weisberg was the perpetrator. They argued that he could have gained access to the Orbin's garage using a remote found in his home. According to the defense, Larry might have followed Jay into the garage and shot him. This alternative narrative aimed to create reasonable doubt about Marjorie's involvement and shift suspicion towards Larry as the potential culprit. The jury delivered a verdict, finding Marjorie guilty on multiple charges. She was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder, along with 2 counts of theft of $100,000 or more and 2 counts of fraudulent schemes and artifices. Marjorie received a sentence of natural life for the murder charge and concurrent, presumptive terms of 5 years imprisonment for each of the remaining counts. This verdict and sentencing reflected the serious nature of the crimes she was convicted of committing. Marjorie's post-conviction statement to 48 Hours adds a new layer to the case. According to her, she regrets not testifying during her trial and claims that Larry was the one who killed Jay. She asserted that she played a role in covering up the murder. Marjorie's version of events suggests that there was a confrontation between Jay and Larry in the garage, triggered by Jay unexpectedly coming home and witnessing Larry entering the house. She claimed to have heard gunshots shortly after, resulting in Jay's death. Importantly, Marjorie insisted that she never saw Jay's body. According to Marjorie, she did not take part in dismembering Jay's body, and it was Larry who disposed of it. Following Marjorie's murder conviction, Jay's brother Jake obtained custody of Noah. Thanks for joining today's crime journey. I'm Diana, your guide in the shadows. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's keep exploring mysteries together. Stay curious, stay alert, and see you next time. Take care.